Hola, ¿qué tal? Hi, how are you? Bienvenidos a esta clase de español. Welcome to the Spanish class. Me llamo Catherine. My name is Catherine. Y hoy vamos a tener la clase de conversación. And today we're going to have conversation class. Now, let me share my screen with you. So, remember, this is the second part of the three-part series that focuses on how to be polite in Spanish, cómo ser cortés en español. So, la primera parte, the first part, dealt with greetings and responses. Make sure you have checked it out as well. Yeah. And today is the second part, this one here. We're going to learn how to introduce oneself and how to introduce somebody else. Now, it seems easy and basic, but trust me, you're going to learn something from it because we're going to look at how to introduce yourself, how to introduce somebody else, and also different context where we introduce somebody. So, for example, how do we introduce somebody in a more formal context, and how we do introduce somebody in a more informal context, and also how do we respond adequately. And lesson number 3 is going to deal with courtesy forms. Know how do you say please, thank you, how do you say, how do you react to bad news, how do you react to good news, how to interact politely in Spanish. And lesson number 4, the most exciting one, the live practice on Zoom, where we're going to review all the phrases and words from the lesson, but also we're going to learn how to be an active listener in Spanish, how to react to things, how to interact correctly, how to sound appropriate, and how to be a good conversationalist, basically, in Spanish. Vale, muy bien, seguimos. And don't forget that Speaking Essentials PDF is available in the description box below. Y tenemos the word list, where you can be taking notes that contains all the words that we're going to be using here. And also you have the extra word list, where you have some extra spice, some extra words and phrases that are useful. For example, how to wish somebody luck during before the exam, or for example, how to make sure that you use the times appropriately. Know how to use some phrases that go exactly before bed and this kind of stuff. Okay, vale. Pero primero, first of all, vamos a repasar. No, let's review. Okay, tenemos que responder correctamente. So let's answer appropriately. I'm going to leave a little bit of a space. Entonces, vamos. Let's go. Buenas tardes. ¿Qué tal estás? Hasta pronto. Well, I'm sure you've done a great job. So let's move on to today's topic. Vale, ¿cómo nos presentamos? How do we present ourselves? Now, how do we introduce yourself? The most basic ones. The question, ¿cómo te llamas? What is your name? And you can respond, hola, me llamo. Por ejemplo, hola, me llamo Catherine. Or, soy Catherine. I am Catherine. Mi nombre es Catherine. My name is Catherine. Okay, vamos a repetir. ¿Cómo te llamas? Hola, me llamo. Soy. Mi nombre es. And how do we introduce somebody else? No, well, for example, there's a party, you want to introduce somebody to your friends. So how do you do that? Presentar a alguien y responder. How do you present somebody and how do we react? Vale, por ejemplo, te presento a. Let me introduce you to. Es, por ejemplo, te presento a Pepe. No, let me introduce to Pepe. Es Pepe. That's Pepe. O se llama Pepe. The dots actually have to go right here. Oh, well, se llama Pepe. So let's revise these 3. Te presento a. Es. Se llama. And how do we respond? Mucho gusto. Encantado, if you're a boy. Encantada, if you're a girl. Un placer. Pleased, no? So, mucho gusto. Encantado, un placer. It's like nice to meet you, all of them. No, they're equal to nice to meet you. These ones are fairly neutral. They're neither formal nor informal. Yeah. Here, por ejemplo, aquí tenemos te. Now here, in the first one, we have te. Te es una forma de tú. So, as some of you may know, in Spanish, we have two forms. Well, in let's say, in the most widespread normative, so to speak, Spanish. Now, because in some regions, there are some other forms as well. So, but basically, there are two forms to say you. One for your friends, tú, and one more fancy, formal, more, I don't know, a little bit more higher register, usted. Now, here in Spain, where I live, we mostly use tú for everything. Now, so if a person is roughly your age, roughly your status, and even if it's, for example, the context of professor, student, the context of boss, employee, we use tú pretty much all the time here in Spain. But that may differ depending on the country you're visiting. Now, you may use either tú, usted, or even vos in algunos places in some countries. But well, from my personal experience, it is okay to say te presento a pretty much all the time. I introduce you to. But if you want to elevate it a little bit, this one, and if you want to use usted, if you want to like step it up, you can substitute te by le. Le presento a. So, Mr. whatever, let me introduce you to, or Miss whatever, or Mrs. whatever. Okay. Ahora vamos a presentaciones estrictamente formales. So, let's move on to strictly formal presentation. No, the previous ones were neutral. They can be used everywhere. But let's step it up a little bit. For example, you're during like a official presentation, you're meeting somebody of importance. How do you interact in this case? Vale. Entonces va. Tengo el gusto de presentarle a. I have a pleasure to introduce you to. Tengo el gusto de presentarle a Pepe. Well, señor Pepe in this case. O le presento a, as I told you, usted, ¿no? Le presento a Pepe. Vamos a repetirlo. Tengo el gusto de presentarle a, le presento a, and how to react in the more like elevated formal context. Tengo el gusto de presentarle a, el gusto es mío. The pleasure is mine. El gusto es mío. O encantado, encantada de conocerle. No, I'm pleased to meet you. No, it's a little bit more formal. Oh, by the way, for the obviously the genders depend on whatever you want to present yourself as, and if you want to present yourself as non-binary, one of the options is to say encantada de conocerle, no, to use e instead of either the binary options, but that's completely up to you, obviously. Y presentaciones informales. Okay, so how do we how can we spice it up a little bit? Well, obviously you can say te presento a, but how can we spice it up a little bit and make it more informal? Okay, these are a little bit more elevated, but let's see. Well, elevated. I mean, they're a little bit longer, basically, what I'm trying to say. They're not formal, but they're a little bit more conversational, colloquial. Presentaciones informales. Vale. ¿No conoces todavía a Pepe? Oh, don't you know? Haven't you already met Pepe? ¿No conoces todavía a Pepe? Haven't you already met him? Oh, I didn't know. O por example, mira, te voy a presentar a Pepe. Look, I'm going to present you. Like, mira, it's a little bit more conversational, right? Te voy a presentar a Pepe. Let me introduce you to Pepe. No conoces todavía a... Mira, te voy a presentar a... And how can we react more appropriately, more like fun, in a fun way? No? You could also ask them how are they feeling, how are they doing. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola, ¿cómo estás? O por ejemplo, tenía muchas ganas de conocerte en persona. A little bit of a long one. Let's repeat it together. Tenía muchas ganas de conocerte en persona. I have been waiting for, I've desired, I really wanted to meet you in person. I would love to meet, basically I've been craving for it. Tenía muchas ganas, no? Okay, so, and also as a side note, here in Spain, when we introduce somebody to their friends, well, in pre-COVID times and hopefully now, it is very typical to give 2 kisses. Usually, well, it's usually handshakes among men, but if you're a girl or if it's well, it's a woman and a man, things of the kind, you would give 2 kisses. No? Por ejemplo, hola, ¿cómo estás? And then don't be afraid if somebody's leaning on to give you 2 kisses. That's completely normal. That's a Spanish tradition. And it may vary in different countries, but here where I live, that's usually how it happens. Okay? All right. Vale. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Tenía muchas ganas de conocerte en persona. All right. So now you're fixed, probably for any sort of situations, and you can introduce yourself, you can introduce somebody else in all the social contexts, hopefully. And don't forget that you're going to have the opportunity to take all the notes that you need in the PDF document that is listed below. And I hope, yo espero que sea útil la clase, and I hope it's useful. Espero que la habéis disfrutado. I hope you have enjoyed it. Y nos vemos en la próxima clase, and see you in the next class. Ciao, ciao.